Manchester United nil. Forgot to put the overlay on. Manchester United nil. Manchester City nil. It's kind of like the game, wasn't it? A Manchester derby didn't feel like one, did it at all? Very flat, very dull, very boring. It's another point for Manchester United, I suppose. And I say momentum. It's not a loss heading into Thursday. So I guess to an extent we'll take that. A real nothing game. It felt very pre-season-ish, didn't it? Usually you would think a Manchester derby in April would have significance because City would be playing for something, or Man United would be trying to get into the top four or playing for something. And no, not that today. We probably had the best chance of the game with Alejandro Garnacho, and probably had the better chances or the better. I called it at the end of that match view, sort of the pre-chance when we get into good areas and you're going, right, all you got to do now is cut the ball back or play the final pass or whatever. We just are incapable of doing that. So yeah, whenever we're going to win a game, it's only just going to be by one goal. We can only score max one goal in a game at the moment. And even that sometimes is a struggle. We've played 2 games in a row now where we haven't scored. Hopefully we're saving them up for the Europa League on Thursday. Right. Might be a bit of cope. We shall see. But this is the full-time view where members can call in and have their say. If you do wish to become a member, you can do so. Links in the video description is also pinned in the chat. Get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. Be sure to click the like button whilst you're filing your way in. I can see Amanor's in the chat. He says hello. It's a very, that's what he said. Just hello, Amanor. Garsha says time for a beer. Jason sums it up by saying, yeah, boring. Simon says big up UV fam, a shite game to watch, but we're one game closer to the end. And Oba says snooze fest. It was one of them, but the show's not. This show isn't going to be a snooze fest, right? Yes. And 316. It's like KG. It was very measured game for a measured fan who definitely wasn't falling asleep and just getting progressively more tired as that game went on. I think he's going to have some sugar or something like that to try and wake himself up. Let's get to the calls. Let's start off with show. A boring game, a boring watch. I mean, is the only positive that we didn't lose? How are you feeling about it?
I think the main positive to come out of the game is that it's April, and we're 7 games away from the end of the season. So, yeah, absolutely diabolical game of football. Kept a clean sheet, I guess. I don't know. It was a nice. I don't know. The weather was nice, I guess.
Yeah,
Looks
nice.
Looks nice. Looked nice on TV, I guess. Like bright colors. You know what I mean? Grass looked nice in the sun. The red clashes the green quite well. The blue of City reflects nice, well off the grass, green of the grass. Apart from that, completely diabolical game of football. But
does it feel a bit embarrassing to even call that a derby? Because it wasn't even close to I mean, even if that was just it wasn't even close to a Premier League, a competitive match, let alone a derby match. My goodness.
No, yeah. I mean, the thing is that's performance from both teams, and the result doesn't surprise me whatsoever because City have just been so bad this season anyway. And I said that stat to you earlier this week, where if you take our goals away from the promoted teams, it's 21 and 25 now against the rest outside of Ipswich, Southampton, and Leicester. And they're the 3 collective worst promoted teams that we've ever seen in the league. So it kind of proves the point that if we play the other 17 teams in the league, the chances of a goal are actually it's less than 1 a game. So we're not even guaranteed a goal against those other teams. So is it a surprise that we didn't score today? No, because we didn't score against Forest either. So we've not scored in many games this season. So it's the goals have been. It's the biggest issue. I mean, defensively, we've had the odd game where we conceded 3, like the 4-3 game against Spurs. That was a weird game, to be fair. But on the whole, defensively, it's not been that bad under Amorim. And to be fair, it wasn't that bad under Ten Hag either. But the goal scoring is just beyond a level that I think a lot of us have seen in our lifetimes in terms of how bad it is. And look, I mean, I know I saw a chat from Amin saying he wanted to talk about the coaching. I think on the whole, if you ask me so far, I mean, it's funny how fast time goes. But Amin's actually been in the job for 6 months. I don't think he's done a good job so far. But I'll certainly judge him more next season. I'll put him that way. But I think up until now, I've not been that impressed. But at the same time, I do look at the player and it's like, some people are saying that Garnacho shouldn't have started today. I actually thought it made sense to start him today because I knew he'd get more space today compared to Forest. But you see the decision making is just abysmal, right? But then it's like you're splitting hairs over whether you want to start Garnacho, Mount, or Xerxes, and then you end up like basically not wanting to watch football and then fall asleep really because you're like, what am I having a discussion about? Where we're fighting over Garnacho, Mount, and Xerxes. What the hell are we doing? Like, what I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
this is not a conversation we want to be having. So it's just one of them things. It's like, to be fair, Marcel talks a lot of crackhead stuff, but the one thing he did actually say right was that, like, you have to make what we have now till the end of the season. You kind of have to use it. So you have to use Garnacho. Mount came on, and I honestly didn't forgot he was playing. To be honest, Xerxes came on and hadn't. Again, it's like Fleck. Fleck actually describes him very well. He has a lot of great touches, but doesn't actually make any difference. So, but Xerxes was all right when he came on. And even Dorgu, like, I know it's probably too early to judge him, but I look at Dorgu and I think that he's not ready to be a starting left wing back, to be honest, because I like his athleticism up and down. I think his quality and of this, like his end product is awful, but we brought him in to be a starting left wing back. I think he's better being a backup at the moment, but probably means we need to buy a more experienced left wing back. I don't think he's good enough to start week in, week out at the moment. So it's just there's no quality anywhere. Like even Ugarte and Casemiro in the middle won a lot of balls today, but then on the ball, do F all, right? So it's just you're watching the game today, you're like, bloody hell, give me something to like cheer or like be excited about. You know what I mean? Like I don't think we had like a decent even shot today that made. Was it all who played? I don't know who the goalkeeper was because he didn't make the save. I don't know who was it. Is it Edison or Ortega? I can't even tell you
It's
who that man.
Edison.
Was it
Edison,
Edison?
yeah.
Shit. I was
Yeah.
gonna say Ortega because we didn't make him make a save. So I don't know which City keeper played today. So okay, it was
Yeah.
Edison. Okay, we didn't make him really make a save until I think one of the shots near the end. So I don't know, man. It's like I think the United fans that went to the game today should be refunded. To be honest, maybe the City fans as well. If the clubs actually had any respect for the fans, that'd be the right thing to do. That's the only thing to come out. Yeah. What else is there to say, man? Yeah.
Well, the only thing to say is roll on Thursday, right? Do you think
Yeah.
we're going to see a performance Thursday, or is it going to be like how it was in the Europa League last time, where away from home, maybe a draw, maybe not amazing, and then just kind of get over the line in the second leg?
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I mean, if we won away at Leon, it would surprise me a lot. But I could definitely see a draw, take you back to Old Trafford, win at Old Trafford. I mean, Leon aren't. Let's be honest, Leon are not a great team, right? But
No.
at the same time, we're not. Yeah, it's one of them things. We're not either. So yeah, I don't see it being a high-scoring game. I think we're going to go there. We're going to be quite conservative, and probably going to just try and. I think it'll be very similar to the Sociedad first leg. I think very similar. Could be like a 1-1, maybe 2-1 either way. He probably start a similar lineup today, I would assume, unless players are back. I don't know. I don't know who's back, whether it makes a difference. But yeah, I do think. Actually, I don't know. I don't know what to think. But yeah, let's. Yeah, maybe it might be different. It might not. Yeah, I don't know.
Joe, you just kind of fell apart towards the end of that. I think maybe I don't know. I don't know. And you know what? I feel you there, Show. I do. I can relate. That was kind of just yeah. Season's almost over, so cool. Super chat from Amador says, "I owe Show an apology about Ugarte, such a basic player." Wow, look at Amador. I mean, he's called out Show on occasion. Now he's apologizing. Very interesting. Speaking of which, let's time for pillow talk. Let's go to Amador. Amador, you're apologizing to Show. You're wrapped up in a blanket, probably because if there was a game which you've slept during games before, did you sleep during that one? I won't blame you.
No, genuinely I didn't sleep because I don't know. I slept very well this morning, so I didn't sleep through that. I have to be honest though, Owen, is that yeah, it was a boring game, but I was gonna ask you for pension advice. I've got a couple of pension schemes. Do you think I should combine my pension schemes?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's my own country.
Okay, well that was Amanor thought that was what he's going. You go with. I mean, we'll try it again. I mean,
Sorry, Owen. I was being a little bit facetious. I was genuinely looking at my pension schemes this morning, so that's why I asked you the question. It was
it's better than the match. Better than the match, you know.
I did want to say one thing, Owen. I know what Shaw was saying. Everybody's saying before about the coaching, but just hear me out on this point. I am going to judge the manager next season when he has his pre-season and he has some of his players, and then September, October time. That's when I'm really going to say, okay, are you coaching these players to be better? I can see the 3-5-3 identity. I can see the formation, but I'm actually now seeing the other aspect of your game. Can you coach players to become 10 to 20% better than what they are? I am not seeing that at the moment. I mean, I would have thought I would have seen something in over 20 games, at least some sort of indication of players improving. Now, some people will say, well, you can't improve some of these players. Some of these players need to leave the club, and I hear that. I absolutely hear that. But that's the thing that's disappointed me the most, Owen. It's like, yes, it was a 0-0 draw, and yes, it's boring, but I'm looking to see certain players improving, and there are either players being static or players who were so poor previously, but they've only gone back and improved themselves to the minimum level. For example, Bruno Fernandes. So Bruno Fernandes before Amorim was performing really poor under Ten Hag towards the end of his tenure. He's now coming back. He's now actually influential, but he's influential. He's just coming back to his good standard. He's not performing beyond what I would expect for Bruno. So that's the first thing I want to say, Owen. And maybe it's a bit harsh, but do you think that's a bit unfair for me to say that? Or
I don't know, because I feel like I don't know how much more you can get out of some of these players, to be honest with you. Some of them just are not good enough. People like, obviously with Garnacho, I kind of agree with what Sho was saying and kind of what Flex was talking about pre-match, which I understand why he started, because you are playing on the break, but it's a catch-22 because you're playing on the break, but you know his decision-making is really, really poor. So if you do get into a good area, it's probably going to be the wrong choice. Højlund, I know people can say about service and what have you, but it's just not really it. Casemiro, we know his legs are gone. It's just, and we do have a couple of injuries. People like Ahmad, our real game changers aren't available, or we just don't really have any. Like we just don't really have any. So I wonder how much more he can get out of some of those players, to be totally honest with you. But I do think, you could make an argument about, well, why is he persisting with starting Garnacho? Why is he persisting with starting with Højlund? Maybe that's just because he's trying to save people, make sure they're fresh for the more important game on Thursday. I don't know, but it was just a rough watch, wasn't it?
It was. And to be fair, it's what you said before, about the pre-build up. Sorry, the pre-assist games. Sorry, not that's a pre-assist. It's something you said pre-something, whereby
pre-chances. Yeah,
pre-chances. I can see genuinely pre-chances were pretty good. So when we transition from the back to the front, but we also have to recognize, Owen, that our best chances still come from counter-attacking play.
Yeah.
Which is still sad. And I thought we were moving away from counter-attacking play under Amorim. So this is what I'm going back to, saying, okay, where's the coaching element of this coming through? Where's the trigger point from, it used to be Martinez who used to bring the ball forward, trigger the play, and then there'll be triangles, and then somebody will go behind the defense to cross it in. I'm just not seeing enough of that. And like Shaw said before, like attacking-wise, I think he's regressed. I know under Ten Hag, we were so open. We played the 3-1-6, and then we had 20 shots against us. Fine. I think defensively we improved marginally better because we played the 3 and we got Gatti, Casemiro. But offensively, I'd say we're worse now than we were under Ten Hag offensively. I know you probably say provide the statistics. I can't give you the statistics off my head, but using the eye test, I fear, and this is my biggest fear, is that when we play against decent teams, especially in the Europa League, which that's where my focus is now, if it's 0-0 to a 78th minute and we haven't, and then we've got a chance of winning, but I fear that if we go back, if we concede the first goal against any opposition, we won't draw win the game because we just don't have enough goal threat or cutting edge to sort of win the game.
Yeah. No, I do agree with you there, Amanor. And that is the concern, isn't it? It's like going into these games, against in the Europa League against Lyon or others is that I mentioned this before. Like, if we're going to win, it's going to have to be like 1-0 or max 2-1 because score 3 goals. I mean, I know we did against Sociedad, but I don't know. It's very, very dry, isn't it? Very dry. If you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well. Let's get to another call. Let's go to Chalaboy Comics.
How's it going on?
Good evening, good morning, regardless of what the time, whatever time is there.
Yes. Morning.
Yeah, still morning, just about. I mean, it feels like nighttime. Could still go to sleep after watching that one. What did you make of it?
So yeah, thanks for having me. It was a game that I felt that was emblematic of where both teams were, in the sense that we didn't have too much to play for. Both teams weren't as confident in their overall play, so it was more like everything's a little bit cagey. Where people didn't lack the confidence to take those big chances. That being said, I do feel like our build-up play was, quite decent. There were moments that I noticed about, how we brought the ball out, where there was like a bit of positional rotation from our wing back and Dallo coming inside to receive the ball off our center back, which is something we don't usually do. So I thought that was a nice touch. I enjoyed the way we switched the ball both from wing back to wing back and also from our center backs, to outside 10s and wingers. So I think in general, we tried to do the right things. It was just a situation where we lacked the cutting edge. And I think the game also lacked a goal. I think a goal would have turned the game on its head, made more teams a little bit more adventurous. But I feel like we stayed a little bit in that neutral zone where we didn't want to risk too much. City didn't want to risk too much. But I think on balance, we, were the better team and had the better so-called chances. Unfortunately, we lacked the quality to finish. But I feel like, the hate that I want to be here today to defend Garnacho, because I feel like the hate he was getting was so unwarranted, because we criticized him a lot of times last few games for not using his overlap. He used his overlap quite a bit, and Dogu, lacked sometimes the finishing, touch. So it's understandable that in some situations Garnacho is going to use him as a decoy, because he hasn't been, the best, executor at that point. Garnacho had a few cutbacks that were good. He passed the ball a lot. So just because some things don't always work out or don't always come up for a player doesn't mean they're playing badly. So I just feel today the hate's a little bit forced with Garnacho. I think he was one of our better players. I think in general, it was Yoro, who I thought was very, very good today. Bruno Fernandes, played very well, and Casemiro was also strong. Dello in the first half, second half didn't do too much. But yeah, I think in general, there were a lot of 6s and 7s in terms of performance, but no one was able to take that next step up and give us like an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 moment. So yeah, I think overall it was disappointing in terms of quality, but not as bad as I feel everyone is making it out to be.
Do you think that, Aminor mentioned it last time, do you think that Ruben Amorim can do any more with these players, or is this just the ceiling, particularly attacking-wise, with the attacking players that he's got, which is they're not going to create that much and they're probably going to make the wrong decisions, and, we just got to sort of hope that it kind of goes for us in certain games?
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point. For me, Ruben is in a catch-22 situation, because something I asked him to do because of the profile of our team was to increase transitional moments, for our squad, make us a little bit more counterattack or, a little bit more direct, which he has done. And as a result was, when Casemiro is in the team, we're playing a little bit deeper, we're, playing a little bit more long balls, which has given us, good chances to run at the opposition. However, the problem with that is that it's very difficult to commit as many bodies into the attack, because the distances they have to cover from a low block, into the middle, into the final third is quite a large distance. And I feel that was sort of like the Achilles heel of Ten Hag's system last time, was that we were playing, quite direct transitions, but we were also committing 6-7 players like to arrive in the final third, which made us a little bit more kamikaze, but at the same time give us higher chances to score. Ruben has said, okay, we're going to play a little bit deeper. commit fewer bodies in transitional moments, but then that puts the pressure on our 3 or 4 players who arrive in those positions to execute really well, and we just don't have the quality at this point to do it at such a consistent level. So if Ruben wants to, increase our attacking threat, he also has to increase the risk that we're going to get counted because we have slow players and not the midfielders or the profiles to cover those large amounts of space. So I think he's doing what he can with this team. Again, I've said it a few times. I like a little bit more freedom of positions. I want the center back to carry the ball a little bit more. I want, defenders to make, bigger runs into the final third just to offset the defenders. So I want more of that, but I know it's kind of unrealistic with the team we have. So for me, it's just a matter of, keeping clean sheets, keeping solid, and just trusting our players to, make the right decisions when it comes to the final third. I would add maybe one more body in terms of an instruction to arrive. So we have maybe a bit more cutbacks that we can use into late arriving midfielders. So those are some things we can tweak. But I think for now, he's making the adjustments he needs to make to get the best out of this team at the moment. We just haven't found the sync when it comes to our attacking third. And it's been a problem all season, to be honest.
Yeah, been a problem all season. Hopefully we find it come Thursday as well in the Europa League. Big up to Chalaboy Comics. Appreciate him calling in. As always, long-time member and contributor to this show. Where we're going to go to next. Actually, before we go to the next call, be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Let's see if we can get the likes up to 200, 300, something along those lines. What are people saying in the chat? Asim says we've got a draw versus a top half side. Ridwan says, I think Højlund just needs another 10 years to get developed, and Garnacho only needs 20 shots to score a goal. Patience. Yes, I know what you mean. And K-Flow says, get the likes up, people. Yes, indeed. Right, let's go to another call. Let's go to Eminem. Eminem, a boring watch. What did you make of it?
Hey there, Owen. Yeah, it was, as you said, boring watch, pretty much. I mean, I expected a draw, to be honest. I didn't really expect a win. I didn't think we have the ability to win. And I had a belief that Rasmus would start today because in context, I think the Lyon game is a bigger game. So resting Xerxes to start for that one. I hope he's starting that one. Made sense to me. But again, it's the same story. Lack of chemistry in our front three. We won't have chemistry until we invest into the squad, unless we get Ahmad back and we put the right players in the right positions to have that. And for me, Casemiro and Bruno were probably the best players today. But yeah, it was just a crap game overall. I know a lot of people are praising the team, saying they did a decent performance for keeping Man City quiet. Really, Man City are really crap right now. That's nothing to be proud of. We could have taken the opportunity like we did again at the Etihad, but we didn't have the quality to do so. My only gripe is really Ugarte. I watched the Liverpool game today, and I saw Sanderberg playing that game. Just the difference, and people were looking down at Sanderberg in the summer, and just see the difference. And Ugarte is, I know it's his first season, but I don't think there's any space to grow with him in our midfield. And yeah, I think that was my frustrating part of today, really. I didn't really care about the game that much.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's interesting, actually, because we're already kind of doing it now, aren't we? Where we get linked with a player that's like a lower level Premier League player. Bear in mind, we're 13th, but a lower level Premier League player, or even like a Championship player, and we kind of scoff, don't we, at them? And like we did with Sandberg, and now it almost takes him to go to another team for us to go, oh yeah, actually they're quite good. Is that almost then, with the Ugarte Sandberg example there, a reason as to why come this summer, if we are getting linked with your Matetas or getting linked with the players from clubs lower down the league, we shouldn't, or Delap, we shouldn't roll our eyes at them, because just because they're playing for a smaller club doesn't mean they can't develop and contribute.
100%. I mean, like Andy Robertson came from Hull in the Championship when he came to Liverpool. I mean, that's a great example. I remember when Ollie was here, we were actually looking at Sandberg, and a lot of people, football Twitter, especially Man United fans, were begging for him to come because we needed a DM. But now he went to a Sheffield United and then a Fulham. We don't want him. We never wanted him in the summer, but yeah, we can't look down. Especially there is quality there. You could have a that Southampton team that just got relegated, you'll find a quality player in there, like I know Dibbling, but obviously he's not a fully formed player yet. But you can find a quality in a group of shit players, and that's what we have to do. But yeah, hopefully this summer we do actually use that sort of using the scouting network and actually recruit that way. Not only the players that we can find in lower teams, but also in the championship, but also abroad when we're looking at other teams like that are playing low in like lower levels. We should just use that network and have belief in it. I don't think we've used our scouting network that well in the last few years, unless right now we're going for academy players. I think we need to do more of that. But Ugarte, I don't think. I'll be honest. Like McTominay used to get pelters for doing this type of performance, and people are praising Ugarte for it. I get it's his first season. However, if you compare his play, his attribute to the stats, it doesn't really differ from Collier. Even if Collier's played less minutes, he'll provide the same. I don't think Ugarte is going to be a player that stays this summer. I know he was Amram's player before, but yeah, I don't see there's any. He could be a good squad player, but I don't see him being part of our future here.
Interesting. That's a bold statement by Eminem there. Appreciate him calling in as per usual. How many likes did we end up at? We're currently at 114 likes. If you haven't already, click the like button. Also, be sure to subscribe. There you go, guys. That's the full-time view for you. It's a very dry game, isn't it? Very dry game. And actually, you know what it was? Sometimes I feel bad. Sometimes I feel bad going into games. I mentioned it right at the start of the match view when I started on the pre-match, where I was like, I'm in a bit of a weird space for Manchester United and the Premier League matches at the moment. Not that I don't care, because I will always care. You know, if we win, I care. If we lose, I care. If we draw, I care. But when you're going into these matches in the Premier League at the moment, it is kind of like, do you know what I mean? When you don't get that like match day butterflies or that match day like, I'm really excited. Man United are playing today. I'm getting out of the Europa League games at the moment because they're so important to this season. Obviously, they have a big impact on next. So I'm kind of invested in that. But I'm just like, and then you go, no, come on, you're a fan here, you're a supporter, commit. And then you get that as the game, and you go, actually, I suppose I was right. So it's near a lot of the time your instincts. People say this to you all the time. Your instincts, your gut instincts, how you gut feel about certain things. Usually, it's pretty close. Not always. You should always try and learn more information, get more context, or what have you. But sort of your gut reaction to a lot of things is near enough right most of the time. And it's exactly what it was like today, wasn't it? Of just going, don't really kind of care. And then, you just you get a game like that and you go, yeah, I guess gut instinct was right. But we now move on to Thursday. That's the most important game. The Europa League is our season. Hopefully, we show up there. I mean, just really the objective has to be just get out of the game on Thursday, still in the tie. If you can be ahead, fantastic. If it's a draw, whatever, go to Old Trafford, get the win like we did in the prior round and keep the season going. Because let's be honest, folks, if we thought today was bad with how dull and boring and meaningless that was, and that's a Manchester derby, at least we've still got the Europa League to play for. If we're out of that, not only obviously we're not in Europe at all next season, but on top of it, the rest of this season, like the next 6 weeks or whatever, will be some of the slowest, most dull, boring, and meaningless weeks of your life. Watching football matches, it will be torture. So just keep the season alive on Thursday, keep the season alive moving forward, and hopefully we can just sort of slip into the Champions League next season. We won't deserve it, but we'll take it. That's what we got to do, right? That's what we got to do. So there you go, guys. That's the full-time view for you. Be sure to smash the like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. More reactions from Flex and others outside Old Trafford coming up shortly, as well as player ratings. We'll be back as well live tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Have a good one. I'm out of it. Peace.